Hey guys, so I wanted to come on here because I know I haven't posted most of the day like I usually would, but or at least do as many videos. Again, still healing up from the tooth extraction and bone graft, but slowly getting back into being able to drink other things outside of water and eat some other stuff outside of yogurt and everything. But excuse me, I wanted to come on here and talk about the whole situation that everybody's been talking about today when it comes to the Xbox, mostly Microsoft when it comes to the Xbox systems, mostly the ones that came after this, that being the Series X and the Series S, and the other additions that go along with it. As well as, let's say, the controllers and some of the games and stuff. And a lot of people I guess you could say justifiably, are blaming Nintendo for them, hiking up the prices of the Switch 2, of games like Mario Kart World and everything. And a lot of people felt that if Nintendo was going to do that, that other companies would follow. And Microsoft is the first, possibly two. The other one being Sony. But I don't think Sony will do that because Sony, so far as we know, has probably the most successful console, selling wise, outside of the three. You know, Basically everybody, when the PS5 came out, went for that over the Microsoft, the Microsoft systems, as well as the Nintendo Switch systems, because they came out a little later or around the same time. But the PS5 promised to be a lot of things, and it so far lived up to the hype. I mean, people could actually watch, if they want to, Fandango and YouTube and all that in HDR, basically in high dynamic range, you know, and basically watch it in suitable 4K. They don't have to worry about, let's say, it's just saying it's 4K, but it's, advertised at 1920 by 1080 times 2. It's actually 4K. Or it takes something and 4Ks it up, if you will, in its presentation. So, again, I don't think Sony has to worry about raising the prices, seeing as though their console, and even the digital console, and even the Pro console with, digital or physical, if you will, has been selling well. I mean, even the digital console with the separate, physical attachment, the attachment that allows you to play the games physically, they all been selling well. So, I don't think Sony has to really worry about that. Now, if they do it, then that's on them for falling into the same trap that Microsoft did. But Microsoft's only doing it because the system's not selling well. It's not selling well compared to the current Switch or to the current PS5 variations. So that's why, it's raising its prices. It figures that, well, we got the more powerful console, out of the Switch and Switch 2 combined. So if we raise our prices, mostly with our games and everything, mostly with our games, people will still buy them and everything because, they will see that, hey, we're justifying our cost. Because that's the only reason they're doing it. In my opinion, that's the only reason they're doing it. They feel that they have justification with their systems to raise it to what Nintendo is raising the Switch to, with or without the Mario Kart bundle. Microsoft is, raising it up because they feel that if anybody should be justified in, offering their system for a lot more than it originally was, it should be them, not Nintendo. Because people at Microsoft will compare the graphics capability of the Nintendo Switch 2 to the Xbox systems and all that are currently out there, and they'll basically say that, despite the upgrades, in graphic, despite the upgrades in resolution, the implement of a new graphic card and everything like that, that despite all that Microsoft, still, reign supreme over Nintendo in all the areas that Nintendo is upgrading to, with the Switch 2. So basically, long story short, I think the reason Microsoft put the price, the price hike on the systems, not this one, but the newer ones, is because they want to feel justified. Like if anybody's going to charge for these kind of prices, for the systems, especially the games, it's going to be them because they have justification for doing so because their system has all the tools internally within it to justify that hike in price. And to them, this will cause Nintendo to probably realize, okay, maybe we should lower the price back down to what the Switch 2 or the original Switch was going for when it started. That's the only reason they're doing it. And no, it's not just because of tariffs and all that. People could say, oh, what if it's about the tariffs? What if the tariffs are doing it? First of all, we don't know what the tariffs are that Trump is going to be charging Japan and other countries. We don't know that. People are only going by what they're hearing on all the other news outlets that are against people like Trump, against people like Elon, against people like Vance. They're only going against them, with what they're reporting, and people like those at Microsoft and Nintendo are believing every word they say. They're not hearing other outlets that are speaking for the other side. They're not hearing the other outlets say, hey, that's what you're hearing is not true. Here's the real reason. And here's why this is the real reason. Here's the other side coming from within and all that. So basically, that's why for anybody that's blaming the tariffs and Microsoft and Nintendo raising the prices because of that, it's not because of the tariffs, because we don't know what the tariffs are just yet. They're only raising it based on the assumptions of what they're hearing from other outlets like MSNBC and CNN and others that are against this current administration. That, they're going based on what they're assuming, what they're basically throwing out there as what they feel is going to be fact and not fiction, and not listening to outlets like Newsmax and CBN and Fox News and realizing, oh, maybe these other outlets are telling us a lie and this is what the tariffs really are, and maybe we shouldn't be hiking up our prices just yet until we know what the tariff situation is. Until we know what the situation is. And honestly, again, I don't think it has anything to do with the tariffs. I don't. I think they're just going off of what they're hearing and believing from the other outlets. And that's a fact. That is an absolute truth and fact. So, to me, it's two reasons why this is happening on all fronts. One, Microsoft, in my opinion, wants to justify that they, internally, within their systems, have the right to price hike their consoles, their games, their accessories, and all that. Well, Nintendo, even though they have upgrades with their new system, doesn't have that justification and should lower the prices. And the other reason, just like Nintendo, is they'll believe in all the gaga coming up from all these other outlets without any real proof of what the tariff situation is going to be, because they're not listening to the other side of the equation from other outlets that are trying to basically show you the real facts, the real truth, and not some propaganda, because some outlets are against the current administration. But that's just my thoughts on it, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below, and until next time, I am out.